David Cunliffe, 5 minutes.
Mr Speaker, I very much welcome the opportunity to take a call on this bill, which stinks. Mr Speaker, this is the bill which is going to allow the developers' lobby to put another death by 1,000 cuts through the Waitakere Ranges. It should never have got here. It should have been fixed in the Select Committee. It wasn't, Mr Speaker. And the only good thing about this bill is it will, I repeat, will cost Paula Bennett the seat of Waitakere unless she stands up and co-sponsors the local bill that will be brought to this House by Auckland Council to overturn the egregious blanket tree trimming regulation axing clauses of this bill. Mr Speaker, this is part of a broad agenda to undermine local democracy, and it's vested, sir, here in measures that please the bulldozer brigade, and they override, through the RMA, the legitimate and hard-fought provisions of the Waitakere Ranges Heritage Area Act, Mr Speaker, which requires conservation values and cumulative effects to be considered in every resource consent issued for the Waitakere Ranges area. The government in 2009 tried changes to the RMA which would have overridden that and removed blanket tree protection from West Auckland. Mr Speaker, the Environment Court effectively overruled the interpretation which the government may have been seeking to pursue by upholding the ability of council to schedule or regulate groups of trees. And so, in a fetish of retribution, the government and their developer mates, the bulldozer brigade, have got the blanket tree felling provisions back in this bill. It means that any tree can be trimmed off at ground level with a chainsaw, down to zero, and that the only way to protect it would be to schedule every individual tree. Mr Speaker, it took 4 days of hearings in the Waitakere Ranges to schedule 190 trees. There are 150,000 trees that are vulnerable in my electorate alone of New Lynn. In the areas of Langholm, Titirangi and Woodlands Park, 150,000. And give or take a little bit, National is creating a bureaucratic nightmare, a mountain of red tape requiring council to schedule each individual tree. But no, they say, out of the goodness of our developers' hearts, we have introduced amendments at the Select Committee which will allow us to schedule any-weeny bitsy groups of trees on every individual property. Sorry, not good enough. The people of West Auckland are going to rise up and throw that out. And the evidence for that is that the Titirangi Ratepayers and Residents Association and the Waitakere Ranges Local Board have already held public meetings which have unanimously passed resolutions calling on Auckland Council to bring to this House local legislation which will overturn the provisions of this bill. And I would like to say now to this House, sir, if that council brings forward such a bill, I will challenge the member for Waitakere to co-sponsor it with me. So the Honourable Paula Bennett will have the opportunity to stand up for the overwhelming views of her constituents and rise above petty party politics and be the kinder, greener type of MP that she tells her electorate she is. And I make this prediction, Mr Speaker, if the Honourable Paula Bennett declines the opportunity to co-sponsor this local legislation, she will soon be the former MP for Waitakere. And she will deserve it, because she is responsible, along with her colleagues, for bringing legislation to this House that trashes the Waitakere Ranges Heritage Area Act, which she didn't vote for, and it undermines local democracy, and it's part of a broader agenda which is absolutely undermining our community values, undermining civil liberties, whether it's the RMA resource bill, whether it's the housing bill, or whether it's the spy bill. New Zealanders are about sick of it. They're going to stand up, fight back, and the fight back is going to be big, fast and strong on the tree trimming provisions of this bill.
Denise Roche. Thank you, Mr Speaker. The bill, as it's being reported back to the House, is admittedly soft